We are back, Simply Simone. We're better. If you have not already hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe, okay? This is a channel where you simply will get me, the simple truth, the simple smile, and we will grow and learn together. I want to share a little bit about everything, like my hair, my locks, how I do my little creative styles, things I learned in life, where I'm at. And today is all about self-forgiveness. It's been a while. If you are already subscribed, thank you for hanging in there. It's been about a year. I'm gonna have some changes to my room I want to show you, but my phone is a little sensitive, but I have like some artwork, some bookshelves, some paintings. I'm gonna try to straighten back out my phone. But today is all about self-forgiveness. These are actually strategies that I wrote down, that I actively practice, that I've done, and it's uncomfortable. I'm just going to be honest. Sitting with yourself sometimes and going through scenario by scenario, situation that as they come up can be daunting and it's uncomfortable because sometimes we are so quick to blame ourselves but not forgive ourselves. So let's talk about it. All right. So the first one is, instead of replaying the mistake over and over again, you need to ask yourself, how did I get here and what role did I play? I want you to write down these 4 steps. What happened? What role you played? What did you learn? And what would you do differently today? Just write it out. In the situation you're in, what happened? I went to XYZ house. What role did you play? I rolled my eyes and like initiated in the back and forth argument. What did I learn? That sweeping stuff under the rug until it gets too heavy for me makes me explode. And what would I do differently today? I will give myself 24 hours before I respond, or I would not show up in that space knowing that I'm not able to effectively communicate in that moment or in that time, right? That's something you don't have to minimize. You don't have to dramatize it. Just simply state what happened, what was your role, and what would you do differently. I always say that I would like talk to somebody on the phone right away when I had something happen, and I would try to like vent and get people on my side so that I felt less bad about whatever situation I was facing. But I realized that that stopped my own accountability, and I have to really sit with myself. And yes, I actually have a notebook. I think I have one on my bookshelf here. I have a little notebook, and I write down, okay, what actually happened today? What made me uncomfortable? What role did I play? And did I give myself 24 hours to respond? Or did I respond right away? Did I respond out of frustration? Did I overshare with someone who I shouldn't have? All of those things matter. And I think it first starts by just sitting still and actually thinking about the situation and addressing it. So that's number one. Identify what role you played. And when we talk about self forgiveness, it's really important to know that you can never, ever, ever say, I keep myself in this cycle and now I'm just angry at myself because I can never change. The moment you give up on yourself, so will everyone else. Don't ever say, "Oh, like this doesn't get old." We are ever like evolving, growing. So it's okay to say like 3, 4 times a week, "What did I learn from this? Like, what do I need to do differently?" Some of us have traumas. Some of us have patterns and behaviors that have become habits, that become a lifestyle. So this can even go down to something as simple as like my habits with eating. And it can go as serious as to like a relationship, you know what I mean? Or breaking an addiction. These are good habits. What role did I play? Where was I? What was I doing? What would I do differently? Um, and I want you to number two, I want you to separate your behavior from your identity. A lot of times I was so hard on myself and couldn't forgive myself because the behavior patterns I had, people told me, well, you're just a selfish person, or you're just a liar, where you're just and I'm just throwing things out there, but people can say like, oh, well, you're just manipulative. You may have handled something poorly, you may have made a bad decision, but that does not mean that that is who you are at your core. Don't listen to the lies of this world. The world will tell you that, oh, because you're like this, or because you said that and did that, that is you. That's the true you. No, we simply sometimes make mistakes. We simply sometimes did not learn or have good examples. Maybe we saw our parents handle things instead of confronting things head on. They called people and they gossiped or they said things, and then it got back to the person and they never addressed it to them because they thought it was sparing their feelings, but they were dancing around how they really felt about something. So we all have um, things that we have to come out of or that we learned, and we have to unlearn them. So I think that just because you go through things, I don't want you to react out of fear, insecurity, or say I'm just a bad person. Um, I don't deserve to be loved. Um, this is just who I am, right? The moment, like I said, you give up on yourself, everyone will give up on you as well. So, number one, what was it? Let me see if you wrote it down. Say it to me. Okay. Number two is separate the what? Behavior from identity. Okay. Number three, I wrote down, it says, give yourself the same grace you give others. But you know what that reminds me of when I wrote it down and I'm thinking about now? I love the word grace. If you don't know what grace is, that means just like giving them, you're able to forgive someone, you're able to see them as like flawed and have mercy on them, meaning you don't just judge them really quickly, but you just extend your grace. That means forgiveness. And I thought about it. If you, it's hard for us to give ourselves grace if we don't give others grace. And I think this process of self forgiveness might be harder for you if you are a person who um, you don't forgive others easily, you hold on to grudges, you judge people harshly. You might find it harder to forgive yourself because you hold yourself to such a high bar. And while I think that is great, you have to know that humans are going to fail you. One of the things a pastor I really love used to say is that people be people. And what that means is people are flawed. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to let you down, but you still forgive them. That's the same thing with yourself. You're going to disappoint yourself. You're going to let yourself down. Guess what? You are human. You are not perfect. You are not a machine. You are not meant to get it right. Right now, I'm on my fitness journey, and sometimes I show up to the gym with my head down and tell my trainer, "Oh my gosh, I just ate Culver's an hour ago." And my trainer was like, it's okay. Like, that's protein in there. You're working out, you're in the gym. It's okay. And so I want you to know that it's okay to remind yourself that I am not this moment, that I am going to grow, and that I have my entire life ahead of me. It's okay. I think about if you're a parent out there, or even if you're not a parent, you have a younger sibling and they come to you and they tell you something that they did. Think of someone you love. And we try our best to cheer them up and say, it's okay. It's going to be better. You are still loved. You're not that mistake. But we find it so much harder to tell ourselves that when it's us, we're like, I knew better. I'm 20 something. I'm 30. I'm 40. I'm 50. I should be making these mistakes. But once again, you are flawed. I think a lot of people, what I've noticed too, is that, and it made me more self aware. I noticed that I don't always have to be so hard on others too. Side note, I know this is about self, because I see sometimes when people have done me wrong, even if they don't apologize, you can see like the guilt and the shame weigh on them, and they'll avoid you, but you can tell that they feel like crap. And so I just make it a habit of just treating them right, or still saying like, "Hey, good morning, how are you?" Or just checking in, because sometimes people know they're wrong, and I'm like, let me give them grace, because then I know when it comes to me, I might not get that same thing from others, but I'm able to extend it to myself because I know how that feels, and I know how much it meant to somebody else when I gave them grace. So I deserve to give that to myself too. Never, never give out more and you don't have, and you're pouring from an empty cup. And that comes with forgiveness. If you don't forgive yourself, you're pouring from a cup that is bitter. You're pouring from a cup that is full, that is a cup that is with confusion, that is that angry, That's like expired juice or milk from the refrigerator, and you give it to someone like, here, I'm giving, but it's nasty. But it's I can't keep it down. I can't stomach that. It doesn't feel good and fresh. It feels old and outdated. Are you old and outdated? Let me hear you say yes or no. Say it out loud. No, you are not. So don't treat yourself like that. If somebody gave you two options of, okay, this red bottle of juice will make you love yourself, strong, special, whatever, right? This magical potion. And then somebody else said this blue one is poison. Which one do you want? No one is going to choose poison. But that's how we treat ourselves. We treat ourselves, we drink poison every day by telling ourselves that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve forgiveness, that no one would ever love us, or I deserve to be abused, or I deserve to stay in that. I deserve what happens to be bankrupt because I did misuse the money. You might have made those mistakes or choices knowingly, but now that you know, I think that self-awareness keeps you from going in the same route, keeps you from spiraling in this cycle. The more aware you are, the more you forgive yourself, you're more, I'm gonna get some statistics next time. You're more likely to do better. I told you guys, you're getting simply me, the simply raw truth. So I'm gonna give you some statistics, and I believe that more. I just know, like when you're more aware, um, I feel like you're less likely to keep making those same mistakes. The less aware you are, the less you care, you just find yourself on like that cycle of doing the same things over and over. Um, and number four, focus on the lesson, not the punishment. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think that guilt keeps them accountable, but guilt is only used if it teaches you something. Once you learn that lesson, if you continue to punish yourself, um, you're not, what did you learn from it? You're just beating yourself down. And the Bible is called condemnation. There's a difference between conviction, that means I know and I understand, and condemnation says that like you're just beating yourself down with bad affirmations. Like I told you guys, that's not what we're in the business of. So I want you to write this down. So we already asked ourselves, what happened? What role did I play? What did I learn from it? Okay, I give myself grace. I want you to ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? Write that down. How have I grown? What boundaries have I developed? And what wisdom did I gain? I always think about a lot of situations I find myself in. I didn't set a boundaries. And sometimes I had them, but I didn't live in them. And I sometimes don't like the word boundaries because I feel like sometimes it's overkill and it's overused, and it's an avoidant to keep you from having real conversations or actually putting yourself in certain predicaments and situations where you have to act maturely. So you say, my boundary is not to go there. My boundaries, don't ask me about that, because it's just a lack of maturity sometimes, to be honest. But a lot of times, especially when it comes to dating, we are so infatuated with somebody that, ooh, we could talk all day about dating. But you are so infatuated that you ignore all the red flags. You downplayed that situation that you were in with them. You said, well, they didn't mean it like that, but you knew that inside they meant exactly how they treated you. They meant exactly what they did. And instead of pivoting and adjusting, you became callous, insecure, and internalized it. And I want us to stop internalizing it. God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of peace, love, and a sound mind. Don't internalize the lies of this world, the lies of people who are projecting onto you, because they didn't sit and do this homework that we're doing now. They didn't sit in it and say, what could I do differently? Right? They don't sit in that. They keep hurting people. They keep doing the same patterns. But guess what? When you become better, you detach from those things and you're able to get what you need to get out of life, where you're going. You can't get where God is trying to take you. I'm a believer of God. You can't get to where you're going if you're stuck in a mindset of where you were at. If you're stuck at never growing, you could be here, or God could have this for you, this level, this new relationship, this new friendship, this new circle, but you're stuck over here because you're scared to have conversations and to put boundaries in place. Self-forgiveness is sitting with yourself and having these difficult conversations so that you could become the person that you're always meant to be. And you'll realize that you've been putting up with a lot of things that affect you in your health. That's not in here. But you need to forgive yourself so that you can have less stress. You can have more internal peace. You can have more sanity. You can figure out what really works for you, because we're always growing and changing. And it's not called growing pains for no reason. And the last thing is, I want you to know that you cannot change what happened. It happened. Um, I think about those who those who went through serious heartbreak, serious sadness, or serious abuse, or verbal, emotional, physical. I want you to know that you can't change what happened, and it makes me emotional because it wasn't, sometimes it's not our fault, right? We can't control what that person said or what they did, or we think, if I didn't make this person angry, if I didn't make her, if I didn't say this and that to her, or if I didn't trigger him, I knew his triggers, but I still did it. I still went in, or I still allowed. You can't go back. You can't undo. You can't change. So you have to accept it. When you accept what happened, when you accept the situation, you're able to take a deep breath and say, I'm ready to go through the healing process to become a better me. I'm ready to go through the healing process to forget, to release them, to be a better me. A lot of times when we don't accept a situation, we harbor on. And like I said, that bitterness, that unforgiveness is sitting inside of you. And one thing that I love about the Bible is that God says, those who forgive a lot, he will forgive a lot. And I love that. And even if you don't believe right now, right? You just have to believe in like that good and bad that you put into the world. The good that you put out, the good that you are, the easier you release the things that aren't for you. You make room for the things that are for you. You make room to feel lighter and more airy, and to feel more whole and more at peace. I'm gonna be honest. I went through many seasons where I was like, I wish things were different. And while I was harboring on yesterday, I realized that I was neglecting today's impact. Today's a new day, 85 degrees, sunny and nice, and here I am emotionally eating, treating my body like trash, drinking away, venting to someone who didn't even mean me well. They would love to see me down and out. We're gonna have to talk about circles next. But you have to actively practice self-forgiveness. And I have to say, Simone, if this is sitting with me so much, I have to write myself a letter, and I have to write a note to myself. And I had to say, Simone, this letter is for you, and I want you to know that you are an amazing person. You are a child of God. You are beautiful inside and out. You have a beautiful smile, beautiful spirit. You are very kind. And I just told myself honestly, I said, one thing you struggle with is seeking validation. You have abandonment issues, and it shows up every time X happens, or it shows up every time this. And then I started thinking strategies like, when I feel myself operating in that spirit of people pleasing, take a deep breath before I respond. Take a deep breath before I overcommit. Take a deep breath before I over explain. And at first, when you start to self forgive, it feels uncomfortable. It feels kind of stingy and selfish, because people are like, oh, you're not available. Oh, you're very quiet. Oh, you seem more to yourself. That's okay, because self forgiveness equals self work. And sometimes you have to self isolate to get the work done. I highly suggest therapy. If you don't, that one trusted friend or parent that really knows you, who um, holds you to a standard, and they see you as humanly flawed and love you still, who have seen you in all of your stages and emotions, though that person, and I don't say multiple, I say one, not two, even one. That's like the therapist that knows all sides of you, a mom, a parent, a best friend. For me, I have a best friend that knows me in and out, but I still do a lot of my reflective work with a therapist. So I guess that's two. But I don't like the reason why I say one person is because I don't like to overload. When it comes to like that real self-reflection, I don't like to overload. Like you can have, of course, many friends that you talk through things with, but that one that you actually um, talk through some of these things with is very important to say like, hey, do you notice when I do this and that? Like, did you see it come up? Or I'm gonna try this strategy out. Like they can help you with those type of things. Like I said, number one would really be like therapy. For me, they always give me homework. Um, my therapist also told me when was that? Like 2022, I started therapy. 23. She gave me this activity a few years ago, and it was like, what is in my locus of control and what is not. And I realized that that activity was great, but I kind of internalized it to the point of what was in my control was all my actions and behaviors. So then I really started to hold myself to a standard like, girl, you're running a strict program on yourself, but then you're overly people pleasing everybody else. And I was like, this defeats the purpose. When she said it's in my control does not mean that I weaponize it and I don't forgive and have grace on myself. It just means that if it's in my control, guess what, Simone? Whether it's a good day or bad day, I can control the next day. I can control how I want to keep going and what course I want to take. So I say all that to say that I want you to know that self forgiveness is not a quick journey, right? Think about the turtle and the hare. It's not a quick journey. You can be the turtle, it's okay. But just know that you will get to the finish line. And I also say this, that the quicker you are to give yourself self forgiveness, you will start to see a better future for yourself. Like it will start to become more clear. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but I actually seen it in my own life. The moment I start to say, Simone, that is not your worry, that's not your concern. Today wasn't perfect, but it's okay. Don't think for people. Don't wonder what they're thinking. Don't create the scenario in your head. And I started to get more walks, more exercise, more movement, eat better, drink better. And I'm still in that journey now. As you can see, like I'm not there yet, but I'm in that process. I learned that I could be more gracious. And so I started saying affirmations to myself like, I am learning, I am growing. I am not my past mistakes. I am not the Simone last week. I am Simone is victorious. Simone is special. Simone is kind. Simone can make sound decisions. Simone can be consistent. Simone is disciplined. Simone is loved. Simone is needed. Simone is valuable. And you have to say that and really mean what you say about yourself. So, in closing, I just want to say again, thank you so much for listening. But it's not even thank you for listening to me. I just hope if you listened for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, the whole video, that you got something and that you can just self reflect. And if you don't take anything else away, I want you to know that you are needed, you are necessary. And I want you to write that letter to yourself. I want you to say affirmations to yourself. And if you don't have any that you can think of, you can always find videos on YouTube that play affirmations for you. You can look up some online as well, whichever one sit with you. And I also want you to start giving yourself grace. And when you have a good moment and you have a good day, reward yourself with flowers. If you're a man, reward yourself with your favorite drink, or go play basketball, or men like to do all types of things. I don't want to stereotype, like reward yourself with a good day. It could be something small. You don't have to spend like, hey, I did good today. I want to go take a walk and like, just feel good about it. Play my favorite song, unwind. And so I just say celebrate the small wins when it comes to you. And don't beat yourself up. The world does it enough. Like we're judged like this. Like like people think negatively so much about us that we don't deserve to do it to ourselves. The world is very hateful sometimes, but it's also full of love, and you can be that one light in a room full of darkness. So thank you again. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead. We're back, baby.